Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard are here to make you a friend of ours.
That would mean you were made guy.
Investigating what is and isn't legit.
That's a fugazi. All right? That's a fugazi. I looked at it for 2 seconds.
Seeing through the lines to make you a better.
I know you know. And I know you know I know you know.
The FTM Army is being sent for.
In our thing, you get sent for, you go in alive, you come out dead. And it's your best friend that does it.
These two wise guys would never steer you wrong.
Forget about it.
This is Real or Fugazi on Follow the Money.
You know it, Brasco. And we're brought to you by Profit X. March Madness has got a lot more interesting. Profit X running the King of March, where you can win free trips worth up to $10,000 just by betting the tournament. Flights, hotels, wherever you want to go. Profit X covers it. Simple. Download the app, use code VSINMM and start winning. Code VSINMM. King of March. Only on Profit X. Mark Pope is on the clock. Iowa State was without their best player. They were up 11. They lost by 20. They spent $23 million on that team and shouldn't have beat Santa Clara. Real or Fugazi?
And this one, well, you know how high I was on Mark Pope when they hired him. So I'm not the biggest John Calipari guy. I said this is automatically an upgrade for Kentucky. Last year, they were a fun and exciting team, made the Sweet 16. Had some, but here's the deal: who's in charge? Like these teams now or programs have a GM. They spent that much money, which they're going to do every single year moving forward. But it's going to be about picking the right players for your program so they can mesh. Here's the problem. The guy that had the job before he got their Calipari, I'm looking right now at ESPN's top 100 for next year, their high school recruiting. Number 2 kid in America. He's going to take over for Cuff as a freshman point guard. His name is Jordan Smith. He has 3 kids total in the top 22 committed to Arkansas already next year. Mark Pope doesn't have a single high school player committed in the top 100.
Oh, boy.
That's a problem.
They're questioning like he's not going out there and getting after it.
So, and how long will that proud program, where basketball means everything to them, how long will they put up with this?
I know. And also, we could have the Kansas and UNC job open at the same time.
How about that?
Self might retire, and that could be it for Hubert Davis.
That's correct.
Duke will not get calls against Pitino. Real or Fugazi?
Before I answer, why do you say that? Because Pitino is...
He's a legend, and he works the officials like nobody's business.
Okay, did you have a problem with the calls yesterday that Duke got against TCU 2 days ago?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. They had some really bad calls.
I'm also used to Duke always being in the bonus 5 minutes into the second half of it.
Here's the thing, and I tweeted this out. It had some traction over the weekend during the game, and a lot of Duke fans are very unhappy with me. That's fine. It is what it is. Okay. I'm no longer a Duke hater.
How do you cannot argue that the debate Duke gets calls. It's been that way for 30 years.
Of course they do.
I mean,
and they got calls against TCU. I think that their power might outweigh Pitino.
No,
I think they might get some calls. Yeah, I can never say that Duke might not get calls.
All right, but you are even more confident in St. John's after the ACC embarrassed themselves. They got 8 teams in. Duke's the only one left.
Well, now we're on to
Real or
something
Fugazi.
here.
ACC was terrible.
We got to talk to Dalen Cuff about that in a half an hour. That might be very real, Pauly.
No one's talking about this.
8 teams, most since 2018 for that conference. They're the last man standing out of that league. You're telling me that might not come back to bite them in the hind end? Certainly it could. And all of this stuff about, the power rating and the KenPom numbers are better than last year. Let's just say this. They're not better than last year. They could win the title by 100 points this year. They're not better than last year's Duke team.
Yeah.
That had Cooper Flagg and Con Kneppel. Let's stop with that nonsense. Last year's team was all-time good.
Virginia won a game, but Wright State was right there. Miami won a game. Great turnaround. Lucas is a great coach.
Yeah.
Carolina probably loses their coach. Embarrassing loss. Historic win for VCU. Clemson looked awful. Louisville, South Florida had them. They couldn't make a 3, but South Florida could have won that game. SMU embarrassed themselves, and NC State didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible run.
Yeah, okay. Halftime coverage was more frustrating than staggered games. Is that real or Fugazi?
Okay. That's real. So I know we've been over this, and it's like people wake up and they just can't believe it. What are we doing playing a 10 o'clock game on Sunday night and then you got 2 standalone games, and then we're cramming all the games in the afternoon. But you have Hall of Famers as studio analysts, guys who played in the NBA and were excellent in college. And did you see this? Tweet in and comment or email. They're doing carnival games at halftime.
I saw the highlights.
They're doing like knock down the milk carton and win a toy, stuffed animal. Charles Barkley.
Because they can't talk about the games?
No, and then they're doing a talking basketball. That's another one. Like, we just jumped the shark here. What are we doing? No X's and O's, no analysis. Halftime of the March Madness, and they're doing games and playing with toys, and they got a talking basketball there where they're doing skits and stand-up comedy. I couldn't believe it.
So I don't watch. Here's the reason why. Like, that's the best studio show of all time on the NBA side. Well, NFL Today with Brett Musburger, College Game Day, it's in the conversation. I don't understand why it's in their contracts that they have to do college. They don't pay attention. They never have. Barkley and Kenny Smith, why are they doing...
Still, just comment
why
on
are they
the
on
game.
the coverage?
I know.
But they can't. They know nothing about these players. They haven't watched them all year long.
Okay.
It's a total disservice to everybody involved.
But you got Clark Kellogg sitting right there, too. He's in on it as well. It's like Clark Kellogg's playing knock down the milk carton? Knock down the thing for the fair? What? Who comes up with this?
Do you think they might be better off if they actually brought on a professional bettor or an odds maker?
Well, I don't care what the NC2A thinks, or it's irrelevant. You have to attack this from a gambling standpoint as well and point out the favorites and do something with the player props, whatever. Luka should be closer to SGA and should get MVP consideration after the run he's on. Real or fugazi?
Well, I think that's actually a little real. I'd still say the same thing about Wemby. How was Wemby drifted out to like 25 or 30 to 1 now? I think both those guys
if he
should be
misses,
closer.
I know, I'm with you. They're 21-1 the last 22 games he plays.
It's pretty good.
I think it might be because he only can miss one more game or whatever it is.
Right.
Luka is averaging 33, 8, and 8. During this great streak for the Lakers, he's averaging 36, 8, and 8 with 2 steals a game. Going back 36, 60, 40, 36, 51, 31, 35, and 44 points. And incredible in clutch.
Well, so I can't wait for the next straw poll to come out from Bontemps at ESPN.
Yeah, he's down to 10-1.
That's going to be very telling. I honestly do think that both guys have a better chance than what the odds board would tell you. But that last straw poll they did now, this seems like it was probably a good month or so ago, maybe a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
When out of 100 people, not all of them are voters, but some of them are, 80 of them gave SGA the first place vote. That's going to be tough to overcome. Unless that completely flips. By the way, if it does, you'll notice a drastic change in the odds once that straw poll comes out again. If either Luka or Wemby catches him in the straw poll, they'll go from 10 and 25 to 1 to like whatever. Cut in half, big time.
Yeah.
But yeah, both of them should realistically have a better chance of what the numbers are saying right now. Level of concern very high about upsets in this new era. Real or fugazi?
Oh, yeah. Sky high. Absolutely. Got to ask Dalen Cuff coming up. It has to be. Not only that a 13, 14, 15, 16 didn't win a game, and it's only happened 7 times and it's happened back-to-back years, these games weren't competitive. To think that the average margin of victory, 17.4 points in the first round. And I'm going to tie it into this one. Here's why it could get worse. Sankey, who's one of the worst things about sports. Remember, going back to college football, he wanted like 6 teams in from the SEC. Get out of Texas, should be in. Okay, you only get 12 spots. Texas making the Sweet 16 is bad for the little guy because the Big Ten and the SEC are then going to turn around and say, hey, you got to put these teams in, even though we're 6 and 12 in conference or 7 and 11. We can get in, we're good, and we belong. And it's just, point to what happened with Texas coming out of the first 4 in a play-in and getting to the Sweet 16. And it'll just go bye-bye with the mid-majors, too, because they also threw a bone to the West Coast. And for only the second time in 14 years, they got 3 bids and 3 teams combined to win 1 frickin' game.
I know. I'm well aware. So you cannot forget that Miami actually won a game, though, over SMU.
Yeah, right. It was a good win.
The committee must remember that.
Yes.
I hope that's fugazi, that they don't, but they probably will next year. Jot this one down, that when another team like Texas, it might be them again on the bubble. Well, remember what happened last year. They got the job done. I don't know. It just seems like, I hope this is an overreaction. because, like all of you, we want the little guy to actually have a chance right away in these games, and we want close competitive games. I mean, do you know how many people come to Las Vegas and, take time, and how much, like, the level of production that is lost across the country during those first 2 days? It's like, whatever it is, billions of dollars, whatever. That might change a little bit if you just have the blowouts happen over and over and over again.
I think Derek Stevens hit on it. You might see this coming week turn into one of the big weeks.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you want to watch competitive games.
That's right. And forever, the tournament either gave you upsets or gave you teams that had a chance. That was not the case again this year. And that, I'm not going to say, don't ruin my tournament. I'm not going to be that kind of guy, but there's a chance here. And I can't believe how much it's flipped in a couple of years. Hello, NIL and the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. Again, we had Florida Atlantic playing San Diego State to go to the national title game and play the winner of UConn and Miami 3 years ago? My God, man.
Yep.
It's that you want to talk about a 180 at lightning speed.
And the runs we were on. Loyola, Chicago, VCU.
That's right.
George Mason.
Those were not flukes.
Wichita State. And then Oral Roberts, Gulf Coast, Sweet 16, St. Peter's. Who? St. Pete's makes a deep run. Barely Dickinson wins a game. Huge
card in the NBA. We'll hit it next. I'll tell you which player has gone over his points prop in 11 straight games. Next on Follow the Money, it's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hey, let me get your attention real quick, podcast listeners. It's March, which means the madness is officially upon us, and the folks at VSiN have gone crazy with this one. For $29.99, you get unlimited access to VSiN Pro through May 1st. I'm talking picks throughout the tournament, public betting data for every single game, sharp tools, projections, articles, and more, which means every day you wait is an opportunity missed. Just click the link in the description to get started. It's March, baby. Now back to the show.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
I would say this is some pretty significant news in college basketball. Randy Bennett, he has been the St. Mary's coach since 2001. Bye-bye. He's going to Arizona State. That looks to be official. So it was fun. The West Coast Conference was really cool over the last 15 years or so. No more Gonzaga. Randy Bennett now no longer the coach at St. Mary's.
Yeah. Well, still, you have to like your chances. You come in and take over for him, though. That you should win that league now.
I would think.
But that's why that job and why now? He's been offered better jobs several times.
I'm trying to think. He's 63 years old. Maybe it's just the weather for the body when you're out 100 degrees in the desert. It's just better for you the older you get.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the
maybe he got frustrated just saying, no matter what I do, the best thing I can get is a 7 seed.
Yeah. That could be right.
Tough. And they canceled the coaches show today with Hubert Davis. So trying to work out an exit strategy, it appears, with the Carolina fan base is livid.
Well, okay, so is there anything in the fine print that says programs like North Carolina or Kentucky or Kansas, if Bill Self retires, that they have to be blue bloods? Like, look at college football. Cignetti takes the Indiana job in this new world that we live in with the money and the transfer portal. Indiana was the best team in college football. My whole lifetime, we know the story. They were the worst D1 program in the entire country.
Yeah.
They won a title. Are you serious? So, I mean, it comes down to, I guess, a billionaire alums, and if they want their program to be good in college basketball, here's the money. Let's make it happen. Like, is there anything that says any of those teams have to be good like every single year? Where does that say that?
Yeah.
They just don't. I don't know. There could be a random team that, it could be a Gonzaga type, whatever. NBA tonight, the tanking parlay.
Oh, now, look at these point spreads.
They're all favored by 13 or more.
Yep. I would play it. I think it's going to win. I wouldn't. The team I don't trust, though, would be the Rockets. I just don't like what's going on chemistry-wise, and maybe the Bulls could shock them. But that's the one team I don't trust with the Rockets. But what Washington and Indiana are doing, I mean, they both lost 16 in a row. Mm-hmm. So it's just incredible how they're playing this and it's a competitive game Saturday going into the fourth quarter, and then Washington starts out, they don't score for the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter.
I know.
It's incredible.
I will point this out about the Rockets, and so this is not me saying this because you all know that I'm the biggest Reed Shepherd fan on the planet. But I listened to Zach Cohen on the Hardwood Handicappers podcast today here at VSiN, and he did point out that since Udoka put Reed Shepherd in the starting lineup, completely different offense.
Yep.
And they give up some things on defense because of him. But look at this now. Recent games, the 117-95 win over Atlanta. They scored 123. They beat Miami. Kid had, 14 assists in a game the other night. He's been shooting the ball well. So maybe that's a little bit of a difference there. But
look at the point spreads.
Oh, it's totally embarrassing.
16.5, 12.5, 14.5, 10.5. These are teams on the road, too. 15.5 and 13.5. So you're telling me it pays what?
Well, I can double check. I want to say it's like it's between even money and minus 115, I believe.
Yeah.
I'll double. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a winner.
You do?
Yes.
Would you also? So Sixers are not tanking, but they're also without everybody tonight.
They don't have anybody.
And
our buddy Grimes has been awesome.
19.5 at the prop tonight.
Yeah, Grimes has been filling it up. No one else can score, and he loves to shoot.
That's exactly right. So you're comfortable playing the Thunder as well.
Oh yeah,
you got to be. And would you throw the Clippers on there against the Bucks?
That point spread's crazy. Why is it so high? And the Bucks just beat the Suns on the road, and the Clippers have some injury issues.
Yeah, and is Kawhi going to go in the game tonight? It's a little iffy here, whether or not he's going to play. Mm-hmm. Cohen loves Garland, by the way, his points prop over tonight, 20.5. Good. Yeah, maybe
there's some remorse there from Cleveland since they traded him. The guys put up big numbers.
Yep.
But they missed Mathurin, and he's been out, but it shouldn't be a problem.
I'll give you this. Bam Adebayo is the player who's going over his points prop 11 straight games, 26 of 31. Great note from VSiN host Scott Seidenberg.
Oh, great.
Here's a guy that I like tonight in that Oklahoma City-Philadelphia game.
Yep.
Jared McCain.
Silly trade.
Revenge game?
Sure. Bad trade.
Oklahoma City's favored by 16 now in this game. So the thought is here, it's a terrible trade, Paul. Why'd they give up on that kid so early?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to Oklahoma City. You figure this could get very ugly very early in the game. I played 15 plus at plus 156 tonight with this points prop. I don't know how high you want to ladder him, but the prop I think is like around 10.5 or 11.5. But I took the plus money at 15 plus.
Yep.
And then you can get crazy if you want to go up to like 20 or 25 plus, obviously.
Yep. Two interesting things to me before we get to the Lakers. Number one, Atlanta is going to be 14-1 since the All-Star break. They have one good win. They're just playing bad teams.
How about that schedule?
No, they moved to the 6th seed, but they're just playing bad teams night in, night out. And they went to Houston the other night, and you said this does not go well for teams when they're dogs and they're on a long. They got blown out.
Killed.
But this is nuts what's going on with the Atlanta Hawks as they keep winning, and they're going to be 14-1, but the schedule's been so easy. And then Golden State is 1.5 in Dallas. Dallas has set the record for longest home losing streak. Can't win a game. But they're begging you to take the Warriors tonight.
Yes, they are.
And Dallas at least gave a good performance losing in overtime to the Clippers over the weekend.
Well, I'll tell you, I can't bet the Warriors, though.
But the Dallas, they're doing a great job here. That they might land a top 6, top 5 pick when it's all said and done because they keep losing games after that crap that happened last year.
How would Acuff look on that team next year?
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. All right. I'm excited. This is great. So I remember we sat here a week ago and had this very discussion about how important this road trip was for the Lakers. Mm-hmm. They could drop all the way to the 7, be in the play-in. This is such a brutal road trip. Well, if they win tonight, they're going to run the table. Swept Houston, got into Miami at 6 in the morning, back-to-back. Luka dropped 60. They win that game. They get the beautiful design play out of a timeout by Redick. Collapse, bad job by Orlando. Kennard hits the game winner. And now they're only 1.5 against Detroit. Chemistry's great. And LeBron figured it out. And Redick and this team figured it out. After all that talk, they're better without LeBron. To be like, all 3 guys need the ball, but now LeBron has decided, the dribbles aren't there. I don't need the ball. Let Luka cook. LeBron had a stretch in the back-to-back games. He was 20 at 22 shooting.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, Luka averaging 36, 8 and 8 during this stretch, and how great they are in clutch games. And, very important, he has he has stopped or cut it out with the nonsense with the officials. He's more about going after hecklers and using this fuel with the custody battle as opposed to going after officials, and he also can't because of the technical thing. So that is also.
And by the way, the reason why he's playing tonight is because that technical got rescinded, for those who don't know.
And if you want to have a good laugh, go back and read the recap of the game about the double technical and what was said with the players, where it reminds me of Roadhouse. What if they call my mom a whore? Is she? Somebody said something about somebody's mom. Luka called him the F word in Serbian. The guy didn't know that. Luka didn't know he knew Serbian. So then he called him out, and then he said, I'm going to do something to your family. It's hilarious.
Wow.
The back and forth. But yes, they got that rescinded. But that has also helped, too. But these guys, that's why they're so good in close games. You got 3 closers on that team. And I thought Bill Simmons made a good point on his podcast that also the trade deadline helped this team as well. So once the trade deadline comes and goes, you realize all we got was Kennard. We didn't make a move. Okay, this is the team. LeBron, you're on the team. Figure it out. Ayton, you're stuck here. Let's go. Marcus Smart has been a revelation.
Yeah.
Playing defense, knocking down threes. And
he's been really good.
And this is Mitch. They've won 11 of 12. They ran out Minnesota. They blew out the Knicks. They got the great win against Denver. They went back-to-back at Houston. They have the tiebreaker over Denver, Houston, and the T-Wolves. And look at the schedule. Maybe they close 10-2, something like that. It's something.
Okay, so here's the deal with why I think the point spread is where it's at. And, oh, by the way, now down to 1 at some spots. No Cade Cunningham. However, this is now official. Rui Hachimura and Marcus Smart are out tonight. They're going to be without both those guys.
Smart's a big loss.
Yes, he is.
You need him defensively.
And
they're going to give him wide open threes, too. Luka's going to set him up.
Yeah.
And Reeves has been great.
Again, now is that enough to, make you stay off the Lakers?
I love what's going on with them. Love the chemistry.
Do you think they have a realistic shot against?
Absolutely.
Okay, I don't even have to finish my sentence. Okay.
Well, you're going to say San Antonio or OKC?
Yeah, I don't think they do, but they can get there.
Well, here's the thing. The Spurs are better, no doubt. But playoff experience matters.
I'm sure it will.
I would love to see that in the second round. The other thing is, I think the SGA nonsense would stop because, like Duke, who gets more calls than the Lakers? So if it's Lakers Thunder in the Western Conference Finals, I think the Lakers, not the Thunder, would get the favorable whistle.
Well, here's what I want, though. I want Lakers Denver, the 3-6 in the opening round. That's what we need.
That could happen.
Dalen Cuff next, college basketball. Which path does he like the most out of all the chalk remaining in the tournament? We'll ask him on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
More college basketball here. Dalen Cuff joins the program. Turner Sports. He's on the Progressive Guest Line and on the March Madness Live app. Dalen, thanks for the time as always, by the way. This is a hell of a crew that you're breaking down games with live. Tim Doyle, Randolph Childress, and Tony Delk, who might be my favorite college basketball player of all time. That's one hell of a crew.
Yeah, Tony's awesome. Randolph, I've known for years, is great. Doyle is a unique beast. If you guys ever been around Doyle, he is a unique character. He is one of one. So it was a lot of fun, man. That was the fast break. Is the first 4 days. We don't do it the rest of the tournament. So just those first 4 days. First time I'd done it. I know Randolph and Tony had done it for years. Him had done it once or twice too. Honored to be part of that group. It was an awesome way to watch the games. I think we had a lot of fun. I hope the viewers had a lot of fun. And my bracket got thrown off the easel last night because I was pissed.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, so what do you make, by the way, of it being another chalky tournament after the first couple of days, just like last year?
Well, I think we're looking at last year with the first year of, it seemed like evidence that the NIL transfer portal had created a pretty big gulf where we only had 5 conference players of the year last year out of 31 leagues stay in the same place. Guys went pro. Or a lot of guys move from the mid-major level to the high-major level. There's way more mid-major and low-major programs than there are high-major, and they get a lot of that talent. And on that talent also has been democratized at the top level too. So last year, I think, was the first year we really saw the impact of it. I was coming in with an open mind this year. I wasn't ready to say Cinderella's dead. And what guy I was talking to, Chris Patola, a guy I do a podcast with, had a good word this morning. diminished, it seems. And I think that seems evident. And if it next year is the same situation where we have all four top four seeds survive the first day, we have no teams outside the power conference in the Sweet 16, 3 years is beyond a trend. 3 years begins to seem like this is the new world order we're living in. So if that happens, then I would say Cinderella's dead. For now, it just seems pretty diminished.
Great answer. Absolutely. Biggest surprise outside of Florida losing was what to you?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to get past that one, really. I mean, it wasn't just I thought they were going to win. I thought they were going to cover by a mile. And as soon as you know that, probably as soon as you know that happens, we're donezo. It was just like in my head, I'm like, they're going to crush this. Where's the hammer? And they just got punked, man. It wasn't the fact that they lost. It was how they lost necessarily. Like, no, Chinilu, one offensive, offensive rebounds,
What?
4 points in the paint, like just getting dominated by a team that's half their size. Like it was wild to me. And then late game where they had Walter Clayton and the guards make plays last year, these guards had progressed, but I thought they still should have gone to Houck and to Condon. You had Boogie Flan trying to drive, and it was a good review. It was the right call by Ben McCollum. He had 2 huge review calls, and both were correct. He's got the ball in his hands, late shot clock, and then when you got 4.5 seconds, of course you're going to go to Xavier. And of course, the last possession, what Todd was trying to execute with the follow-up too. We talked about this right afterwards because I remembered Todd doing that at USF. I brought that up on the show, and our Turner Crew's amazing. I was like, I know he's done this before. I can't remember the game, but I know it worked when he's at USF. And they found a tweet from Rob Doster when he first did it 5 years ago, pointing out that he had done it. And Tony Delk was incredulous, and so was Tim Doyle, that they would do this. But I'm like, well, if you look at the numbers, I understand what they're doing strategically. The execution of it was not, it didn't look like they were trying to do that.
Right.
If you're going to do that, you double Sturts. You don't let him catch you. Let somebody else catch it, and you foul that guy. You don't trail him on basically an Iverson cut and allow him to get the ball with a head of steam into an odd man break. It was very bad execution. Strategy, I get. Execution, terrible, and it didn't really line up to what the strategy was apparently supposed to be. Outside of that, there wasn't that many surprises. Texas beating Gonzaga. Gonzaga I thought was the weakest 3. Texas is a super talented team that's putting it together at the right time. They've defended better, but they got multiple guys that are tough shot takers and tough shot makers. And they got Vokatitis the inside when he's not in foul trouble. They're really good. There weren't many surprises outside of that, really.
All right. Well, can this Texas run continue against Purdue, or is this where it's going to be the end of the road?
I mean, I feel like I was fading Purdue at the right time at the end of the season, and now I've kept it going, and I've clearly lost quite a bit the last 10 days doing that. It's been a bad business decision. But when you look at the matchup again, I do think it's hard for them. Their guards are really talented, and they can go at Braden Smith. They can go at Fletcher Lawyer. If CJ Cox is not fully healthy, I've not been – guys, just so you know, I was in that Atlanta airport debacle this morning for 4.5 hours. So, side note, I've not seen if CJ Cox is going to be there. I was in a state of misery for a while.
Yeah.
But how he's progressing, I think, is important. But they can go at those guards off the bounce. They have, the physicality and in some regard, the inside. If Vokatitis gets in foul trouble, that presents a problem. Braden Smith has to be better. I think Texas is going to push him. That 6.5-point line, I think Texas can win it straight up. So we're going to roll the dice again and see if Texas can cover this bad boy. But that's where I would lean on that.
Okay. How about up top in that region? Can Arkansas hang with Arizona, or will their defensive lapses cause too many easy baskets for Arizona, and meaning the Hogs then probably can't keep it close enough?
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I mean, Darius Acuff can only do so much on offense. Defensively, he just doesn't really guard that much. And that's been their team MO all year. If they put some effort at the defensive end, and you have 2 freshman guards that don't particularly guard particularly well with him and Thomas, but man, can he go on offense? I'm excited to see him try to score and how he scores on those guards, getting by some. You can run different dudes at him. They can switch all the time and have guys on him that can contain him. They've got size at the rim. I'm intrigued to see how he performs in that game. I do think it's really hard from a team aspect, though, that Arizona can play it up-tempo if they want. They can put it in the half court, inside, outside. They can do it all. So with Arkansas have to go through Acuff, if you take him away or limit him, it becomes a very challenging game for the Hogs. So I find it hard. I would definitely lean toward Arizona laying the 8 here.
How about Houston, playing in Houston, and what they've done offensively, and they just obliterated Texas A&M and scored 78 and 88 points in back-to-back games. And there was a great tweet on the broadcast, it looks like they're playing defense with 7 guys on the floor.
Well, if I was preparing for their team, I would put 7 out there, 6 or 7, because the only way to simulate the 2 coming at you and then how fast they step on when I say 2 coming at you, when you come off a ball screen, how fast you got 2 guys on you blitzing you, how fast they rotate up. You got to make some serious decisions. You got to have everybody connected. We always talk about being connected defensively. You got to be connected offensively to beat them. That said, Illinois is an elite offensive team. And with Wagler, a guy with the ball in his hands, can manipulate the defense. Bigger guard, too, at times may be able to see over it. And then you got size everywhere and skill everywhere. Now, granted, not that athletic, so if you could speed them up a little bit, that could be a problem. But they are very, very skilled. Illinois is one of the best offensive teams in the country. They were number 1 in offensive efficiency for a while. I think they've dropped to number 2 behind Purdue right now. And Houston, their challenge for me has been, and they've scored it a lot. They've scored up their defense, and the offense where they've been good, is you need Miles Uzan he can assert himself. I feel like a lot of times it's become you or me, him or Hastings, go one or the other, and your turn, my turn. And less of a connected offense. They have a lot of talent, and they don't have the ability to throw it to Jawan Roberts and just get a bucket anymore. And against an Illinois team, you don't necessarily need to or want to post those guys up. You maybe want to stretch some of those bigs, but they're going to have to run those bigs into ball screens, then try to roll them into the post, play out of the short roll, do different things with them because you're not just posting those guys up. That's not how they play. Mm-hmm. This is the most intriguing matchup. When I first filled out my bracket, I stared at this one for a while. I do think playing in Houston matters. I think Rice being the host school so that Houston can play there is a nice stroke of genius. I'm not sure how Kelvin Sampson worked that one out. But I think it's an outstanding matchup. And I lean toward Houston here, but I think it's going to be an awesome game. And I think deservedly, Illinois is only a 3.5-point favorite that can win it outright. I think it's going to be a really fun game, battle of styles.
Sure. Are we going to have the Carolina and Kansas job open at the same time?
I'm pretty sure we're going to have the Carolina job open, it seems. This is what's different about him. The Carolina job is not Hubert Davis's choice. If he wants to, if they want to make it a joint, mutual parting of ways, not a firing, however they want to word it.
Yep.
If they didn't lose to VCU and they're playing right now, that's not how they're wording it. That's not happening. He's going to be their coach next year. But this was kind of a culmination of a number of different challenging years where he may be stepping away from the program or they may want him to step away, and that's not his choice. Bill Self, it's fully his choice. It's whatever you want to do, Bill. And obviously he's had the health issues for a number of years. This game is way different. I think this year was challenging for him to have a team that I think he thought could win and never be able to really put it together for reasons Peterson didn't play for so many games, and you're trying to bring in some new guys. They were disjointed. They had a lot of success around the late January, early February timeframe. They won 8 straight, beat Arizona when they were undefeated. Like they seemed like they were coming together, but it never came together. I really believe we're in the North Carolina job open. Both of them possible, but that's Bill Self's choice.
Yeah, in about a minute here, level of concern with Duke based on how the ACC did not perform at a very high level in tournament this year.
Well, it's not to me about the level of the ACC. They were heads and shoulders better than the ACC. Now, it wasn't as bad as last year where they were hardly ever pushed. They were pushed a little bit. The bigger problem is just the makeup of the roster without Caleb Foster. You've got one ball-handling guard in Caden Boozer with the St. John's team that is relentless with their press. And you got times Dame Sarr, he doesn't really want that thing full court. That's not exactly his game. Isaiah Evans, the same thing. You can get into those guys' bodies. You can speed them up and make them feel that pressure. You saw Kansas just wilted her. They had 7 turnovers, guys, just in the backcourt. Inbounding the ball was an adventure. And this line keeps moving toward Duke, and I know the public is on them. With this number, I like St. John's a lot. The physicality of this game is going to be something that Duke saw somewhat in Michigan, but it is still a little different at the position, of every position, to bring the physicality that St. John's does. The problem is they lack the shot making. We saw it in the game at Kansas. It was gross for a while, gross. It's a war of attrition. But that's kind of what St. John's wants to make this. If they can muck this up and make it ugly, and you're going to go into the guards, and at times it's not just the physical part when you're getting pressed, it's the mental piece too. Every time you got to go up against it, and they're out of a bench. And Patrick Gumbo's got to be better. He was rusty early in that game. He's got to be better. And we saw TCU turn them over. So I'm concerned for their ability to have the ball security and be able to break the pressure and handle it mentally and physically for the 40 to win the game and cover. Obviously they can win, but to cover with that number, I was a little surprised it was that high. I think St. John's is a live dog, to say the least, and like them with 7.
Very good. Dalen, thanks so much for the time today and catching up. We really appreciate the analysis as always.
Anytime, boys. Be well.
There you go. Dalen Cuff on the Progressive Guest Line. Up next, we'll discuss tournament props that are available this year going into the tournament.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
I am looking live at the VSiN Live Instagram account right now. They just posted up something about Sweet 16 favorites. When they're 5 points or more, 20 and 11 straight up, but only 11 and 20 ATS since 2017. 35.5%, courtesy of our very own Steve Makinen. Purdue, 6.5 or 7. Arizona, big favorites. Duke and Michigan qualify for the Sweet 16. Can we get another big boy to go down like Florida? Because if so, that means that the sum of all seeds to make the Final Four prop is probably going to go over 9.5.
Yep. I would say someone can get Duke. Yes. And have you looked at Herbert Davis, the resume?
It's not good.
How strange is it? He makes the title game as an 8 seed.
Oh, yeah.
He's then preseason number 1 and doesn't even make the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes out early last year, and then they lose and blow a 19-point lead to VCU. So they are just saying that's it.
Not
you
pretty,
had
man.
the lucky run, and that's it. And they were a 1 seed and then lost to Bama in the 1-4 in the Sweet 16. That was the other year. So he just had the fluke year.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
And that's when Baylor, I believe they did beat Baylor when they were a 1 seed. I think Baylor, see, there you go. Baylor was the defending champs.
Yep.
And they never got past they never made it to the Sweet 16. Carolina knocked them off. Carolina was up like 25 in that game. Baylor came back, but Carolina hung on. And then they obviously knocked off Coach K in the Final Four and sent him out like that. So the ACC, how about this? Their conference win total available all last week, they had 8 teams in again. 8. Their win total was 10. Over was minus 30 cents. That conference has 5 wins so far. That's it. Under is already a winner. Duke can only win 4 more games. So the most wins that you can get would be 9, and you had 8 teams in. That's a terrible showing.
Absolutely.
And maybe there is some concern there with how weak the schedule played out again in the tournament this year. The SEC already went over. It was 12.5. They have 13 wins so far. Hell of a job by the SEC.
Sure.
Overall. The A-10 had 2?
Yes. St. Louis and VCU.
Over 1 was plus 110.
Good job.
The Big Ten, their number was 16. Over was minus 125. They have 13 wins so far. 6 teams still in the field. That's probably going to go, blistering right by 16? The Big 12 was 13.5. They have 9 wins so far. And you mentioned this in the early part of this hour. The West Coast Conference got 3 teams in. Their win total was 3.5. They had 1 win. 1.
Terrible.
What a way to bow out.
Just give me Gonzaga against Purdue and I'd be happy. That's the one thing I'd change. That's it. You can't lose that game. Texas isn't good. You're up 8
I know.
right before half, and all of a sudden you go, oh, no, what happened?
I'd also
And that's a great job by Miller to run a play for that guy and to take the 3 in a 1-point game and the confidence in him to knock it down, but just no help other than the big guy. No one could help him out. And you couldn't score against him, and you didn't play well against Kennesaw.
Yeah. I don't think BYU is a very good team overall, but I would much prefer them
that too.
over just to get Debanza
Entertaining,
again.
Sure, get to see the stud.
Yeah, the largest seed to reach the Final Four was bet, again, at Hard Rock, they offered 6.5. It was really bet down to like 4.5, and the under 4.5 was minus 160. Iowa, Texas,
No.
not happening.
No.
You have under 3.5 overtimes.
Yes.
We're sitting at 2.
2. Feel good about that.
Okay. The largest margin of victory prop, which I made a case for under 45.5 points, that came down to the final session on Friday night. All the games are out of the way.
Yeah.
All I have to do is hope to God Florida doesn't win by 46 points or more. And they won by the second biggest margin of victory, I believe, ever in the tournament. 59 points. That was 15-15. I think it was a 99-40 run that they went on. And they never took it easy on them.
I know.
They just kept going up and down the court, alley-oops, chucking away. There you go.
A lot of people pointing out or questioning, is he a good coach?
Golden.
Because he got lucky last year, they're saying, with
All those
Texas
comebacks.
Tech had him, UConn had him. They were down to Houston. They were down to Auburn. Clayton just made some incredible shots.
Clayton was amazing.
I don't know what he was doing at the end of the game.
Some people, when the self stuff, when I first heard about that like a couple of weeks ago, like the hell stuff might be real here where he might step down, the first name mentioned to me from a big-time Kansas guy was Todd Golden. Young, won the national title. He's going to be able to get dudes, obviously. They'll pump tons of money into the program. Would he leave Florida to go to Kansas? The lowest point total by any one team this year, again, was not worthy of a bet to me because they lowered it all the way to 44.5. Numbers do matter. Troy and Idaho scored 47 each. Troy was terrible. And again, something to file away for next year. You want to talk about certain conferences that will always be outmatched. The Big Sky, and also like Houston dominates first round opponents like every year.
Yeah.
The Big Sky like literally has no chance.
No.
In these games.
1-25 run in the tournament, straight up 1-25.
The highest point total by this is first round only. The prop was 100.5 points. 6 teams went over. 6.
Can't believe it.
And that's usually like a coin flip. Will any team score 100?
Yeah. Did you see what Golden said about why there weren't upsets and why there were blowouts? He says it's return to physical basketball and not more like the pace and space and spread you out in 3. He says the big guys are punishing the little guy down low.
Well, certainly his team was.
Yeah. And that's what he said after the Prairie View win. He said that's why you see these blowouts and why there's a big difference. They're killing. I can kill you down low and get easy twos anytime I want.
Again, the old airport game, right? If you see two of these teams walking through the airport, you're going to be like, oh man, that team's really good. That team, they're up against it. If you just watch, I can't even imagine the edge that you might have betting this stuff if you go in person, just to see the differences in the little guy compared to the big guys now. And when the little guys have good players, they move on anyway. So even with 6 teams scoring more than 100.5 points in the first round, the most combined points in the first round was 189.5. That stayed under. I believe the most was 182 in any game. Wow. And then the fewest combined points in the first round was 109.5. I stayed away from that one this year as well. I usually like to look at the under. Over came in. A&M beat St. Mary's 63-50. And that's one of my observations from Friday is that Randy Bennett's really good. He just took the Arizona State job an hour ago. But in tournament time, the results have been disastrous.
Yep.
Not great, far from it.
Just had one run. That's it.
Yeah.
The one deep run. And 2 years ago, 5 seed. Lost to Grand Canyon.
True.
Last year, what were they, a 6? Beat Vandy and then got run out. Were they a 7? Got run out by Bama. Bama couldn't miss. And then this year was an embarrassment.
Do you think Alabama gives Michigan a game?
I can't see it. No. Michigan's too good.
They're too good.
It's a lot of points, but I just think Michigan should be able to score 100.
I think so, too. That's going to be a team total that I'm definitely going to consider here.
Yeah.
In that game. The Iowa-Nebraska game is fascinating to me.
Yes.
Rivalry.
And fans will travel. Winners, can we believe it? The winners in the Elite 8?
Think about that for a second. And Iowa off that monstrous win, defeating the defending national champion. And I'm pretty sure Nebraska's fan base, they're going to show up in droves again to Houston. Why would they not? They just completely overtook Oklahoma City. They wanted to see their first ever tournament win. They got that. And that game, like we said against Vandy, was, I don't know, that final 10, 12 minutes of the game was as good as it gets in the tournament.
Yep.
Live must have just been all-time great sporting event.
Absolutely. I can't believe the atmosphere, environment, and then the finish. But look at what Iowa did here. To beat the defending champs, lost at Penn State, lost at home to Michigan, lost at Nebraska, lost at home to Ohio State, got beat. Was that the Big Ten?
Was this all trending late, right?
Yeah. And they come in and, they beat Clemson and they beat Florida.
And they were easily the best team against Clemson.
Yeah. It's funny, man.
Yeah, you figure it out.
Doesn't make sense. The guy said something during the break, too. And then Calhoun just left Utah State.
On the plane.
Really?
I guess the president tweeted out that he found out on the plane whether they're going back to Logan, Utah. If that's
Cincinnati gets them. Every year they lose their coach.
I know.
And they make the tournament. Wow. All the money brought to you by Profit X. Forget the bracket. Profit X is taking March Madness to a whole new level with the King of March. Hit 1,000 in volume and you're in for a 5K trip. Hit 10,000 and you're in for a 10K trip. Flights, hotels, wherever you want to go covered. Download Profit X, create your account, and use code VSINMM. Win 10, hit the volume, earn your shot, only on Profit X.
There's a chance that we get St. John's UConn to go to the Final Four. How great would that be? Dan Hurley even talked about it. You're going to hear from him next on Follow the Money. It's VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.